Super Mario Land 2, a classic Game Boy game published by Nintendo back in the far-off year of 1992. It was developed by Nintendo R&D 1, with the game being directed by Gunpei Yokoi, who, surprise surprise, also directed the original Super Mario Land. I personally played the game when I was around 6 years old. I had just gotten a Game Boy Advance with a few games to boot. My mom, who had gotten most of her games stolen along with her original Game Boy Advance SP, had given me her original copy of Super Mario Land 2. For the longest time, this remained my favorite game to play on the system, and I would play it every chance I could get, even accidentally finding out that I could change the color palette on the Game Boy startup screen by holding different directions on the D-pad. It was also one of the few games I actually beat, and even managed to find a few secrets in when I was younger. The game's story is fairly simple. During the events of Super Mario Land 1, while Mario was away in Sarasa Land saving Princess Daisy and her kingdom, Wario was over here wanting a castle. He noticed Mario, for whatever reason, had one on his own private island and initiated Squatter's Rule, locking the door behind 6 golden coins guarded by each of the 6 zones' bosses. You get the idea. Get the 6 things and kick the garlic-eating asshole out of your castle. It's the exact plot you'd expect from a Mario game made on the Game Boy. Nothing too special here, outside of the fact that this is the first game Mario had ever appeared in. When you start the game, you'll be on a world map, similar to Super Mario World or Super Mario Bros. 3. Unlike those games, this game is actually fairly non-linear, with you being able to complete any zone in any order. The only half exception to this is Space Zone, which requires you to play a specific level each time you want to enter it, which I find sort of annoying, to be honest. The gameplay itself is what you would expect from a Mario game. Beat a run, and a jump, and if you hold the down direction on the D-pad while jumping, you'll do a spin jump, allowing you to take out shelled enemies and break blocks beneath you. Assuming you have the mushroom power-up, that is. Next up, there's the power-ups. You know, the usual Mario stuff, the mushroom to grow bigger and take an extra hit, the fire flower in order to commit arson, and a star that makes you invincible, which has some funky sounding music in this game, actually. Finally, there's the carrot power-up, which for all my life I thought was a strawberry until recently. It gives Mario rabbit ears and allows him to glide across levels. You can totally break the game just by mashing the shit out of the A button, stopping Mario from falling any lower, and effectively turning the glide into a hover. The game honestly isn't too god-awful hard. And again, I'm some random 18-year-old playing a game made for 5-year-olds, so I suppose that's to be expected. There's even an area on the world map where you can spend the coins you collect throughout the game to roll for a random power-up or some extra lives. Hell, if you're real lucky, you can get a 99 up. It costs a shit ton of coins though. 999, literally the max you can have in the game. Oh, so this is where kids developed gambling addictions before Roblox came along. Now, I probably should mention that this game can suffer from some lag from time to time. And when I mean suffer from some lag, I mean it will seriously chug. The spikes can range from a minor annoyance to causing you to seriously fuck up a jump because of how bad the lag can get. Thankfully, these lag spikes aren't too frequent, but it is something you should keep in mind while playing the game. That being said, this game looks great. And it has unique visuals that are actually interesting when compared to most of the 2D Mario games. Would like to mention that this video was written before Nintendo revealed Super Mario Wonder, which looks beautiful and interesting, and you should see the trailer now. With that out of the way, I can continue the video now. Usually in Mario games, you'd have your grasslands, your sea levels, your cloud levels, and this game does have some of those things here, don't get me wrong. I just feel that this game isn't too afraid to mix things up a little bit more when it comes to level themes. You'll go from Tree Zone, where you're on the treetops or in a beehive, to Space Zone, which makes you jump higher and fall slower, to Pumpkin Zone, my personal favorite, which is a Halloween-themed level with these things roaming around, and Mario's giant toy version of himself. Why do you have that? Okay then. While this game isn't too difficult, it's got plenty of character to spare in the visuals department, and the music is great too. I generally feel that this Mario game has some of the most unique Mario enemy designs to date. Sure, you still have those iconic enemies such as Goombas, Koopas, and Boos. Those are just kind of staples of the Mario series, even back in 1992. But you also have worker ants that dig up dirt to attack, these little pig cannon things that spit out cannonballs in Mario's general direction, or these teddy bears in Mario Zone that roll these balls over spikes. All of these enemies are genuinely unique for a 2D Mario game, and I don't think we ever see any of them ever again after this, which is a real shame, honestly. The bosses here aren't too much of a challenge. Typical Mario boss fight, you know, bop on the head 3 times and you win. The only one I ever had any real trouble with was the boss, or rather bosses, of the Mario Zone. Okay, so it starts out relatively easy. A big roll on the ground. Next thing you know, one bounces a little and you think, okay, a little bit tricky. And then the third one hops out and then, oh shit, they got hops! Yeah, once you figure out the trick, they're not too god-awful bad. Just torch them with a fire flower. You can practically stand still during the fight and win. I was more upset about that than I should have been when I figured that out. Then there's the final boss, Wario, the garlic-eating, treasure-loving man himself. Spoilers, I guess? I mean, like, the game came out in 1992, and it's not really like this huge story-heavy game. Yeah, just skip to this timestamp if you don't want to be spoiled on the final stage and boss, I guess. Okay, so starting off, the stage is fantastic. The build-up is great. So you get all 6 golden coins, right? And it just opens up like this. Already, you know you're in for a hard time, right? So you head straight to the level and there's giant spike balls everywhere. Mario's castle is completely trapped with statues that shoot fire, platforms shaped like skulls that crumble when you step on them, and even booby traps that Wario set up in order to crush Mario with a giant version of his own fist. And then you get to the final stretch with Wario's floating faces blocking your path. Wow, that sounds like it would be a setup for a Wario apparition joke if this video was made a few years earlier. Look, I know it's sort of ridiculous that I'm gassing up this level, like it's a sequel to Sliced Red or something like that, but I really do think that they hit it out of the park with the tone of this level, down to the music which has been playing in the background of this entire segment. Anyways, so you get to Wario, who's sitting on the throne of the castle, who just lets out this deep growl. And the fight begins. The first phase is pretty easy. Wario will just run across the screen, occasionally jumping on the ground, causing Mario to be stunned for a brief moment and the light to crash down, which can hurt you. Easiest way for you to beat this boss is to bop Wario on the head the first time and camp him while he has invincibility frames, just like every other boss in the game. The second phase is where Wario gets the carrot power-up, allowing him to glide just like Mario would if he had the power-up. This time he'll try to crush you after gliding for a bit, which wouldn't be too exploitable if it weren't for the statue of Mario in the middle. This shows that sometimes having a bit of a large ego can make things a little bit easier on you. Finally, there's Wario with the fire flower, which is a little bit more threatening since now he's an arsonist. Just jump over the fireballs and land on Wario's head 3 more times, and you've won the game. Overall, Super Mario Land 2 is a great game that's way up there as one of my favorite Mario games to this day. It's easy to get into for just about anyone, with relatively low difficulty ceiling, great gameplay, and excellent graphics that hold up to this day. The game will probably clock in around an hour's worth of playtime, maybe a little over that if you're looking for all the secret stages. If you want to play the game now, you can currently find it on the Nintendo Switch through Nintendo's online program. If you'd rather own it for yourself, it'll run you anywhere between $50 to $5 US to get a physical copy off eBay. However, if you're looking for the definitive way to play the game, I would highly recommend Super Mario Land 2 DX, a ROM hack by Turas, which adds color to the game, as well as a playable Luigi with his own unique physics and overall performance enhancements. Seriously, Turas did an excellent job with this hack, and it's what I used for the color footage. Anyways, I gotta get running now. Nintendo just sent their ninjas after me for recommending a ROM hack over their online service, and this place is no longer safe. I gotta bring the evidence that I was ever here. With that being said, bye!